Hi everybody. Jack was just setting it up because I'm behind the bushes. And Maggie is too. And she's sniffing because, do you remember I was putting those squares in the oven? Well, I put a little thing of them on the table because I thought I'd like to show you later how they turned out. So, I had to do this after coffee. We had our espresso and I had two of those little snacks. And because it's a chilly, cold day today, it's been dark. It's about an inch or two of snow out there. It didn't snow today, but it's been like freezing all day. Not like, let's say somewhere around 30. Probably go colder tonight. So I want to explain about the Cymbidium. So if you live somewhere where you have a winter, Cymbidiums can take frost. They can take a bit of frost before you bring them in for the winter. And I usually put mine in the greenhouse. They got real close to frost and I put them in the greenhouse. And I was watching the spikes slowly come up, and there's still some small ones. And I usually stake them as they're growing and make sure they're fine. And this time I didn't. That was not a good thing, because as you see them starting to come up, it's a good idea to put a stake by them. Very hard to do because the ground is so full of roots in this pot. So that's one thing you want to do. But what happened was I usually leave them out in the greenhouse till the flowers are 3/4 open. But I go out there and here's a whole stem knocked right off, and that was last week. And I thought, well, that's funny, maybe I hit it with my coat as I'm walking down the aisle because it's quite big. And so I brought it in and I put it in a vase, but it would not open in a vase from this stage. And I usually don't bring them in the house on this stage. But yesterday I went out in the greenhouse again and another one was broken. And it's like, they're not that heavy. So I figured some little animal of some kind might have been running in there. Nothing is eaten because I know an RAT ate my other one and it was unsalvageable. Like, it was bad and nothing, it pretty well killed it. It chopped it right off. So yesterday in the freezing cold after I shoveled, Jack does the front, the driveway, and keeps it all nice at the road, and I do the back trails to the compost and the greenhouse and down the side of the house to the front, which is easier now with the new walkway. So here in the cold and with all that plastic, I'm trying to open up a little bit to get it out. I carried it out and I brought it in. Now, the problem with that, and I would love to hear from you guys what you think, but the problem with that is I used to watch Duenza gardening, and she always says, wait till they're open to bring them in. Brad's greenhouse, same thing. I've heard it many times, and I've always done it. But because they were slowly breaking off, here I come in the freezing cold, and I put it on the patio, and then I sat it in an urn that I put the pot in a plastic urn that was outside that has no water drainage, so that if I water it in the house, it will hold some water. And I put it in here. Now, I'm going to show you later. There's a lot of new ones coming up. There's the two that completely broke off. Now, are they going to open? Are they going to flower? You tell me. It's against everything I went by. And I think Damien in Australia said that I could get away with it once. And that was the only good thing I could remember in the back of my mind. So we're going to try it. And you know, if you live somewhere where they grow outside, that's really nice. But here, they just can't. So I'm going to tell you, these ones were over on this east side of the house where our taps are, just where the steps are to go up on the patio. I always put them there. And they're in a spot where I can water them every day in the summer if I want to. And so what I do on watering days in the summer, because I have my plants out here, is I normally take them some of the water, but it's higher nitrogen at the growing season than it is flowering, because we're not trying to get flowers in the summer. But whatever is on my watering schedule, according to my list, is what they get in the summer. And also, what I did for them, and can't remember the names of them right now. Anyway, I have a little bit of that all-purpose Miracle Grow. And I did sprinkle some in there, and every time I water, that would do good. And they've done good. And it was like, you know, we had all that smoke this summer. We had so much heat. I had to back them off. There was a couple leaves that got a little burnt. But other than that, the leaves look healthy. I backed them off. They were mostly just getting morning sun. And then by the time the sun went around, they're in mostly shade. But it is bright. So the leaves are good. The leaves look healthy. So they stayed out there through the heat. And it was way over the limits they stayed for these. It was some days 120 out there in the heat, plus all the smoke, continually smoke. And no rain for the whole summer. So I always watered. They kept them there. They got lots of water. But that was it. So fall came. I put them in the greenhouse. Now, if you don't have a greenhouse and you have a garage that has a nice window that doesn't freeze, they still like to be in bright light. So whether you're supplying artificial light or you can get them near a good window. So it does they do like to be at that time before they form their spikes. They do like to be a little cooler, and I like to keep them at about 53 to maybe 55, 56, something like that, Fahrenheit. So I put them in the greenhouse because of all the plastic, even before it's cold enough to have the heater on, it does at night go down a lot. So, and now we have the heater on, but it's never on for over, say 53 would be the top temperature we get out there. And if it's real cold, it may not get that. And the geraniums are all in bloom again because we had a little warm spell, believe it or not, a few days ago or a week ago. So, a cool, bright area for the winter. Because as you can see, these are big for the house, and I often thought, you know, I picked them up at a garage sale, so there was no name on them, and they were a lot smaller, and they grew and did very well. And until I started doing the cool down with the bright, I did not get flowers. But they were young plants at a garage sale. I did not know how old they were, so we have a beautiful amount of spikes, but are they going to open? So anyway, if you live in an area that is having a very cold winter, but you're good, they can be outside. It's absolutely no trouble. But then you got to bring it in. It's so big. And so I kind of put it here so we can still walk out that door. And it's only here for the couple months that the flowers are out, however long that is. And then it goes back in the greenhouse till spring. So they are a lot of work. And because of that, because of their size. So, but they are beautiful when they open. So that's why I've kept it up. I'm glad I just got one left. So I said to Jack, you know, maybe I should quit carrying them in and everything. But for now, I'm going to carry them in because it's usually well worth it. So that's it for the Cymbidiums. We'll wait and see what happens. And the Dendrobiums were in the greenhouse too because they like the same type of weather. But as soon as I saw buds, I brought them in. And some people say, oh, they're getting buds, and if you bring them in, they'll turn into keikis instead of flowers. Well, once they've decided and that bud is formed, they're not going to change their mind to what they're going to do. So the Dendrobiums came in, and they're in an upper window, and they get a little cooler with a glass roof. These windows, even when I get them, will also have a glass roof, the part that sticks out. So that is good. And in a few minutes, I will show you a close-up of this. And now you don't want to wake Maggie up. I'll show you a few things here. Now, first of all, oh, I left that little note. Hold on. I always forget something. I don't make notes. I do make a few notes, but I don't like have something I read. It's just whatever's on my head. Can't tell. But I did start to say that I'm going to, every time I do a video, pick the last video and a comment that I thought was very useful for any reason, depending. So this comment is from Terry. Terry's been a subscriber for quite a while, and we thank her for that. So she said, hi Carolyn, and I love your wreath, because we had the wreath in. And as for So Go Vivian, now So Go Vivian is the one that froze, and I'll show you her in a minute. I would take off the bloom stalk. There was a spike started, but it froze. The color of the leaves changed, and I'm going to show you what's happening now. And so this, I would take off the bloom stalk so energy goes into the plant's roots and maybe leaves too. She is totally right. And I even do this for the fells. That is for an unhealthy plant, and if it's got a spike growing, it's just going to draw energy away from the plant. She's totally right, and I thank her for that because I was so wanting to see that bloom because I've got pictures of it, and it's so beautiful, but it is not going to bloom. Not for some time if it does. So I want to thank Terry for that one, and I'm going to show you her. And I put her down here. She's doing terrible. The leaves were falling off, and I'm going to show you a close-up. The leaves, when I get the camera, I'll show you a close-up, but the leaves all just fell off. They're not at all black, like it doesn't have root rot or anything. They're just falling off. And they're a horrible color, and they froze. So it lost 4 leaves, and they just fell off, and they're not rotten in the center. Maybe we'll get a basil keiki at some time. I don't know. So there's that one. Now, I also have Val Sogo Becker, and she's getting ready to make another bud. I will show you a close-up of her. She's doing really well in this basket. I'm very happy with the baskets. And the other thing, I had a comment, someone was wondering how this orchid was doing. This is the one that had the purple flowers, and just a while ago in the fall I had cut off the purple flowers. They lasted so long. She asked how it's doing, and these leaves are, this one's really firm, this one's medium, and then the last couple are kind of soft, but it's got some new roots coming, and I'm going to show you that. And my little snack. Now, if you ever make a recipe like this, you can grind up the seeds, and I'll show you them close, but they're healthy because the only sweetener is, oh, Maggie says they sure are. She's licking her lips. So that's good. So I'm going to take the camera, do a close-up of these, and then, I know, but you can't go up there and get that. That's not Maggie's, you know. So I'll do a close-up, and I'll do a quick one through to see how the orchids are doing. And then that is it today. And if you want to let me know what you think of these will open or just die, let me know. So I'll just come over here, and just takes a minute to kind of lift this off. It's tricky. There we go. Isn't it, Maggie? Huh? Is it tricky? Okay. So here, now, let me see. This is one that is still growing. This one's still growing. This is one that broke off. You can see where it broke. And the other one that broke off, there's more coming right here. So that's where the two broke off. And they're looking pretty good. The leaves are good. It had a couple that were burnt, but really the leaves were quite healthy. So that was good. So let's show a close-up here. There's a little root coming. And I haven't had it back out the pot since the last repot that somebody was asking how it was doing. But I would say it's doing really well, and I think it's going to be a very healthy orchid. And these are the squares. Now, next time, like this, the pumpkin seeds, you can grind up in a coffee grinder anything that you find is too big. But they do make a nice snack. So I'm going to put them over here because I don't want to tempt Maggie to be a bad girl. So here we are. So this is our little paloric orchid, and she's looking good. She has signs of another flower coming, and it's watering day tomorrow. Okay, here we are with our one that froze. The color is terrible. Now there's no rot in the center. It is green, but I'm afraid that these just fell off. You can see they're quite green, but they were all limp, and they've just been falling off. So I'm not feeling good about it, but I'm holding on till the end. Hopefully something will happen. So that is that. So I did some Christmas decorations around the fireplace. So, okay, let's just check over here. I'll just show you some of the ones that are getting close. This is the one in the traffic cone that years ago fell. I often talk about it. It was in a different traffic cone, and it fell when we had a bunch of work done in the kitchen. And it broke, and it was lost leaves, but it came back. It's quite healthy, and it's starting to get some nice sized buds. And of course, these little white ones are opening, and the purple one's on the end. So that's how I set it out when I first set that one up. And there's more spikes here, and this is Moon Glow. And these are the two that the pot broke that I will be changing this pot as soon as the flowers are open. And one of these did blast because I think maybe too dry is often one reason, or one little bud did blast, or it just never had the energy to do it because like they were my sicker ones, but they perked up. So I'm glad to see they're doing that. And this one's just growing leaves right now. And there's lots of spikes up here and snow outside. So the little baskets, you know, I had hopes because the last little leaf is not crinkly. The ones that were crinkly in the other little pot, but now the new one is not crinkly. Seems to be doing good, and tomorrow's watering day. So that's this window. Somebody's crying. She's missing her mom already. Okay. I should turn this light on. There we go. That might help. Okay, so we got some nice spikes coming here. And of course this big one is coming. This is the white one I had. I put in the double pot. And that's the little one, the new one I got at Valentine that is establishing. It had this little short leaf that says it's firm, but it says, you know, it was under stress. But the rest of the leaves stayed pretty good. So, and then up here is another traffic cone with a nice long spike. One of my paintings in the background. And here we have 2 spikes coming up. And here we have dendrobiums. Hopefully they're flowers, not keikis. And there's another pot over here. And a couple little flowers. This one only got 2, but it's my oldest orchid that's been recouping since a big operation of cutting off the long stem. And she's doing a lot better, but not back to normal. So that doesn't surprise me. So that's it. And I will take you, like I usually do, to look outside. You can see the lake in the back there. It has just been kind of like this dark and kind of dreary. But if you're somewhere where it's sunny and hot today, you could run out and roll in the snow. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you. Bye for now.